Hello and welcome everyone to another video and podcast from Eliteserien Fantasy where we cover everything about the Norwegian League. My name is Karam.
I'm Espen. Nice to be back.
And I'm Jakob.
Welcome everyone. Welcome Espen for the first time after the COVID-19 pandemic. Last time we went live with Jacob. You missed out, but today you are in the starting three, I would say. So welcome here. Tell me first, how are you doing over the last few months? And tell us what is on the agenda today.
Thank you, Karam. First of all, no problem. I was not here last time.
And welcome,
Jacob
Espen.
stepped in amazingly. And I listened to it and it was great. And hopefully it will be as good as last time today. But COVID-19, not good, of course. But I've been good in everything. So I'm still happy. It's been a weird time as a teacher, staying home and talk like this all the time with the children at 10. So it's been tough, but we learn from everything, don't we? But today,
Yes.
we are looking at many things, and I look forward to it. I think we have some great updates in many things. The full fixture list is announced. We know every game of the season. First 7, we know the time as well. So we will talk something about that. Friendlies reports. Jacob watched those games closely, so follow him on Twitter and listen to him today because that's a lot of relevant info. Watch lists and value picks. We got some from Friendlies, of course, but we got some great players we know you need in your team. Of course, we're going through the questions and answers, and at the end we will show our team drafts.
Yeah, it is
That's
update number.
isn't it?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll go through the community questions, of course, and I have updated my team maybe 5 times in the last 72 hours, and I'm not even close to it. Jacob, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Yes, great.
Very nice week from Fantasy Bundesliga. So now I'm ready to talk about Eliteserien.
Yeah, of course. We've been enjoying it, spending some time on the Fantasy Bundesliga, but that's not where we want to be long term. It is the Eliteserien Fantasy. Finally, of course, if you are watching here for the first time, welcome everyone. Of course, if you did not sign up to the game, you can always go to the English version of en.fantasy.eliteserien.no. Currently, we have almost 14,000 players. So we are still building up for the season. Last season, we've reached 55K, I believe. So hopefully we can break this record, and this stream will help to spread the word on the Eliteserien Fantasy and engage more people to start playing it. Of course, I've put here the screen of the game for those who did not know much about that. It's similar to FPL, where you can build a team of 15 players with a budget of 100 million, with a very similar rules to FPL, but the bonus points will be given it through the commentary. So that's something also interesting in the game. Espen, let's start with the fixture announced. Of course, we have the first, of course, all 30 fixtures ready. But here we will show the first 7. So tell us a little bit about the announcement and which teams have stood out for you.
Well, first of all, thanks to both Jacob, who has made his fixture list, and to their friend who's always doing this right after I ask him. I just at him at Twitter, and he's making a fixture list, FPL Stemife. So give him a follow, a shout out. But it's hard, though, to look at the fixtures and decide which team has the best one, because we have no idea how this will affect the team. The coronavirus, some break, which team has gone through this at the best way, trained the most and best, and so on. And also, we have this thing that there won't be any what's the name? Expectors? No, what's the name? Fans in the games, right? So for some teams that will be a big problem. For some teams like the team in Kristiansand Start, it won't be a problem because there's no one here anyway. But back to the fixture list. when you see it, this one he has made it like you can see who has the best one, and that's of course the best team as well. So Molde, Rosenborg, and Viking at the top. If you look at the games too, they are good. Especially I think Molde, who is meeting both Ålesund, Start, KBK, and Mjøndalen in the first 6 game weeks. We need Molde players. That's my first thought. And I also think, even though it's far down there, Stabæk, I know there's some hard games there, but I know Stabæk is on fire, even though it's nothing happened yet. But 3 nice home games: Mjøndalen, Sandefjord, Strømsgodset, and we don't know where Vålerenga is. So I think those 2 teams go out for me. I want players from those teams, and as you can see on my draft later, it's 6 from those teams.
Oh, amazing. Jacob, you've watched the games, the friendly games. They are 7 games only have been played so far since the May 30th. From the teams you've watched and compare that to the fixture list, which teams have stood out for you as well? Of course, we know Molde is the champion, so we have to load up as well from Molde. Other teams you are considering to start the season with?
Yeah. First of all, I think it's important to say that most teams have only played 1 game after the break, so I don't think we need to analyze that too much. But I watched Haugesund Brann, and Haugesund destroyed Brann, and I see they are quite far down the list, but I was very impressed by their attack and also their defense, in fact. And we have some cheap gems from both from those teams. Molde lost against Sogndalen, but I think they changed their whole 11, so I don't think we need to dive too much into that. But as Espen said, Molde, Viking, Odd, Stabæk, and I think Haugesund is quite far down because I think they have some quite good fixtures.
Yeah, I do agree. Looking at the teams like Brann, Vålerenga, Bodø/Glimt have done brilliantly last season. They are in the middle of the fixture list. Sarpsborg, the eye was on Boyan from defense and Strand Larsen. They are still in my draft, but there is some doubt whether the fixtures don't look too bad, but they are not the best in the first 5. Maybe from game week 6, they look really appealing. Looking at Rosenborg, though, the fixtures might look a bit tricky for at least the defensive side of it. Kristiansen, Molde, Bodø/Glimt, the first 3. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how many clean sheets they can keep. Aalesund is really down for a reason, because they start with Molde, then through the fixture list in the first 7 they face Bodø/Glimt, Kristiansen, and Brann. So Castro, for example, he was really in my draft. All of a sudden he left it. Probably he will come back, but initially I did not really like the look of the fixtures of the Aalesund, and we don't know which. What I'm worried about this season is that we really know that Eliteserien is a very home-dominated season for teams. So the teams who play at home, they generally have much better results overall. Doesn't matter which team you are playing, as long as you are at home, you have a big advantage. Now, without the fans, I wonder whether this will disappear completely, whether that will be how much will affect the home teams. It's yet to be seen, but we've seen in the Bundesliga, for example, the away wins were much higher than the home wins so far. So something to look at, something to consider as well. Let's start with the friendly games. Of course, 7 games have been played so far since May 30th. We've got some results, and Jacob, you've watched the games closely. So let's go through the games and who scored and what are the things that stood out for you?
Yes, we can start with the last year champions Molde, who played the 2nd division team called Sogndal, and they lost 2-1. But they changed their whole 11, but still without Foreign and without what's his name? Gabrielsen, who both have gone from the club since last year. I think their defense is quite weak, and also they lost the ball a lot trying to play out from the back, and were lucky not to concede more, especially in the first half. But then Leke come in, and Leke, as we all know him, he scores when he comes on. So as for me, who only has 2 players from Molde, that was good to see Leke score. Other than that, Brann, as I mentioned, got beaten by Haugesund. They looked really poor in defense, and I see that Forren has been linked to them, so that could help them maybe. In the Haugesund match, the earlier Viking striker Kalman scored 2, and for 7 million, he could be something to look out for. But I would rather go for Sandberg, who plays on the wing, who was really good that match. Then Strømsgodset has played 2 games. The first game versus Mjøndalen, I have seen a lot of people talk that was really poor quality, because that was the first game after the break. But in that game and the game they played yesterday against Stabæk, a guy named, it's difficult to pronounce, Ikanieks from Latvia has scored in both. And I think he only is 6.5 midfielder who plays as a winger for them, I think. So, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. If I go back to Molde, probably people will start asking about Ekrem, for example, the most expensive player in the game. Did he play the full game? How did he look? If you had an eye test to Ekrem himself.
Yeah, he came on in the second half with Leke, and he played. His starting position was like at the number 10 behind Leke, but maybe it was because Sogndal, their defensive line was so low. So Ekrem went down in the pitch to get the ball, so he wasn't like up the pitch that much. But you could see glimpse that he could play a 40-yard ball and he could get an assist. So I think he will still be good, but I will prefer Leke over him.
Okay.
As it stands.
Stian Gregersen, many are talking about him since he's 5.0 center back. You said they had some trouble with playing out the ball and conceded 2 against Sogndal, but Gregersen 5.0 or Bjørnbakk 5.5. What do you think, Jakob?
Gregersen was the one who lost the ball the most, but he was also the one who won the ball the most. So he is really fast. So he could get some bonus points if he tracks back like Van Dijk and wins the ball a lot. But I have heard that Bjørnbakk could be on free kicks. Yeah. He took one in the game. So if you want maybe some points on the attacking side as well, then maybe Bjørnbakk at 5.5 is a bit better.
And with Bjørnbakk, you also have the almost guaranteed he will play all the games. And Gregersen might be rotated with Roseth or even Kjølstad from midfield. So maybe
I heard their coach said that they won't sign a new center back though. No. So Gregersen will most likely play a lot for 5.0 though.
Okay. Well, the funny thing about Molde defense this season that we have really 4 different prices, or even 5 different prices for every defender. If you want to go luxury, you go for Hayden, which I will ultimately like to get should I get the enough funds, because he looked so good in the last part of the season, and he was gold for me personally. Harald Side is the default right back, I would assume, and the center backs after Foreign, I was looking at Roseth 4.5. It would be so amazing if he gets the main 11, but I think you've noticed that Christensen is the one to go if they don't sign a center back. So yeah, you have from 6.5 down to 4.5. Whatever you pay, you get. I think that's the deal with Molde defense. Bjørnbakk is 5.5. Now I am interested. If he takes the free kicks, then there is an assist potential from him. Going back to Strømsgodset and Stabæk, many of us are rushing to double up on Sandberg and their defense. Should we be worried about conceding from this game, or they look good overall?
I don't think we need to look too much into it. There was their first game back, so
Yeah.
only losing 1-0 against a team who has already played one game, I don't think we need to look too much into it. And but what I saw, Espen also tweeted that the lineup they played yesterday, I think it is a lineup they will play in game week 1. And if so, there are a lot of cheap attackers in that team as well, like Kinoshita at 6.0 and Edvardsen and Vetlesen.
Interesting stuff.
And the defense, it's some difference last year, since both Demidov and Hernandez, who played there last season, is out. But I think Stabæk and Jonsson, their manager, has something that it kind of doesn't even matter who plays there, because they have I can't find the word, but they have the control over it. So even though who's playing, it will work. And they also got in Mats Solheim, who is a great player, who was played for Hammarby in Sweden. And Aman Kva and Hanke Olsen as the center backs. I think they are way better than Demidov anyway. But Jeppe Mo is also injured, so they lost him and a new left back in Jonassen. But they're cheap. I think they will still keep clean sheets. So I've doubled up there with Solheim and Jonassen because I think the defense is stable. They will play most of the games. Of course, they will get some rotation because of the fixture, but I'm pretty sure they will play a lot. So I'm staying there.
Nice. So am I, because I looked at the goalkeepers. I'm not really sure I want to go really to Mira or someone from 4.5 category. The fixtures, they are not amazing, but I also know what I will get from Sandberg: saves, bonus points, and clean sheets from Stabæk. Both Ostbo as well from Viking. They are proven. They are the two teams kept most clean sheets with Molde. So I'm trusting them to continue the form of the defense in general. Looking at the questions already, I'm looking at the chat already, and Sundar is here. Welcome in the live stream. He's asking about the 4.5 forwards. Seems to be dead. Let's put it this way. Gibson probably is the one with 5.0. He has the chance to be there. Have we seen him in the preseason so far?
No. But I have some bad news on Gibson. That is that Sandefjord is most likely to sign a new striker before the season starts.
Oh.
So that's bad news for Gibson. But I haven't signed anyone yet, and he will get game time, of course. But I think if they sign a new striker, he will probably be the number one.
That's bad news for Gibson.
But at 4.5, I don't see Hustad at Brann play today, but I'm guaranteeing that Bamba is the one who's starting.
And they have Menert as well, so
yeah.
He's right. They're dead. There's nothing.
No, it's a shame, really. Speaking about the transfers, let's touch on it. I think I've heard of Heidra of Bodø Glimt, 7.5. He's about to leave the Eliteserien. We don't have confirmations yet, but probably that boosts Singernagel as an option. Saltness. Espen, you might have something to share about this.
Yeah, and now actually the rumors with Hauges, we haven't heard in weeks. So I don't think he will leave now, but it may happen. But if he leaves, I know about Solbakken, he will play, and Sinkernagel most likely, I think, will play as a winger. Might get him more attractive.
11 assists for Sinkernagel last season with 5 or 6 goals, I believe. The problem with him, he was not a bonus points magnet. He was not very likable, let's put it this way. With 11 assists.
It's also important to notice that in the start of the season, Sinkernagel didn't play that much. He subbed in a lot. So if he starts the season in the 11, I think will produce even more.
Nice. Okay, good to know.
He's the best option in Bodø/Glimt for sure. I mean, we can't even actually know who will play as a striker. I think it will be Junker, but they have people to play as a striker. So he is for sure the best pick with Patrick Berg, of course, 4.5 midfielder who I think he's in every team.
I think his ownership exceeded 30% already. And
that we forgot about, or I forgot about the Rosenborg Bodø/Glimt game that was also played. And when we talk about the strikers, when the other striker called Boniface came on, he created a lot of chances in only like 15 minutes or something. So he was really good. And when we talk about Rosenborg, I will mention him later in the stream as well, but Zachariasen wants to watch this season.
Yeah, indeed. Especially that Haaland is a doubt, I think, for game week 1. He might make it, he might not.
Might.
Yeah, so it's something to keep an eye on. Well, that's a nice segue to the questions that we got from the Twitter community. Thank you all for asking. And let's start with our old friend, Hestibo. Please give him a follow. He produced a lot of content as well, and he has a podcast with especially to the beginners who are yet to try and play the game. Follow him, of course, at Hestibo_ESN. He has a question: can we afford to ignore Rosenborg players in our starting team, or would you consider them as a must-have? Is Zachariasen enough? And I'll go back to you, Jacob, because that's where you just ended talking about Rosenborg. So is Zachariasen the way to go for Rosenborg?
As of now, with Helland out, I believe so, yes. He suits brilliantly into the lineup. He said in an interview after the game that to score a lot of goals, you have to be in the box a lot. So that's promising for us fantasy players. There is not a lot of cover in that position as well. So I think we'll play a lot. And he's not that expensive at 8.5.
Nice. Good to know about that. Coming back to the live chat, hello to everyone. Curtis Thacker is in the live chat with a question. Do you think Haaland will get enough game time to be worth the cost this season? And both of you are Viking supporters, so you probably have an idea about Haaland. Yeah. Espen, I'll go back to you. What do you think of Haaland, or Berisha would be the one who dominates the striker position?
We were just talking about it actually before we were streaming here, and Jacob have even more info than me, but he was saying a 4-4-2 might be interesting for Viking, and then might Berisha and Høyland will play together at top. But if they play with one striker, we are pretty sure it will be Berisha. So if we go Høyland, I'm pretty sure there will be some rotation. He certainly will be on the bench. So my opinion on Høyland is to do not go there and either wait if he gets the spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much indeed. Leon Milistad in the chat as well. Well, Amitsbol, I've never heard of this name. Play regularly. Who is he? Where he plays for? Who is he play for? Is he playing for? And what do you think of him?
He plays for Haugesund. Played as a winger against Brann and had 1 assist, I think. But he can play as a striker as well. And he was really good against Brann. So I think he will get a lot of game time. I see that the coach and the other winger at Haugesund called Kristoffer Welde had some issues. So I think maybe Amitsbøl is the new winger for Haugesund. And then at 6.5, he could be really good this season.
That's good. Eric Lord in the chat, hello as well. Thoughts about Gibson? We just mentioned a few minutes ago that probably Sandiford will sign a new striker. and therefore he might lose his play. But that's something to keep an eye on for the next few games. And we mentioned about the Zekariasen. He could be something for Rosenborg this season. But let's talk about Dunn now, because I had a look at him as well. At 8.5, is he worth the price? He was okay when he was 5.5. I'm not sure that I will go there at 8.5, but it could be Valorant that Fixtures look good.
Might be the most interesting in Vålerenga, but for sure I will not start with him. But if we see that Fagermo, the new manager from Odd, gets Vålerenga on track again, and the offensive players are shining, it might be interesting, because I know Dunham is the man Vålerenga is counting for, and he's also the man that Vålerenga might get some money for if he delivers again. So 8.5, like you said, 5.5. Yeah, I will go Dunham, but it can't be in any teams right now, even though the fixtures are okay, but we don't know enough about Vålerenga.
Indeed. Andy Martin, he is an old follow as well to Eliteserien Fantasy, has a question. He is looking for a 4.5 goalkeepers. So is it worth to invest anywhere other than Mira? I don't know, Jacob, what do you think of the 4.5 category keepers? I know we will see later on that me and you are going big at the goalkeeper in Sandberg, but is Mira and another one could be something to rotate with? And if so, do you have a name maybe?
There are, in fact, a lot of 4.5 goalkeepers that will start, but I don't know if they will get you a lot of points because they play in poor defenses. But Myra is obviously the best choice. He was really good yesterday versus Stabæk. Kept a clean sheet. You also have the Mjøndalen keeper, Makani. Lee at Ålesund, I think he will be the number one goalkeeper. Other than that, Døymeland at Start. Don't think they will keep a lot of clean sheets. So you have to rely on save points if you're going for 4.5. But it is Eliteserien, so you never know when they keep a clean sheet anyway. So
exactly. So rotation, Andy, I don't think that's the best way to go, especially in Eliteserien, because if you go 4.5, okay, you go for the saves, right? So if they play away at Molde, I would play Myra because he might get some saves here. But then next game we have home at Mjøndalen, and they will lose 2-0, right? So the teams are too weak, kind of, to rotate the goalkeepers, because I know it will happen maybe every round that your bench goalkeeper will get the most points. So if you go 4.5, go for him, and 4.0 second goalkeeper Myra will play. Go for him. Forget about the second one.
Okay, that makes sense. Go 8.5 for goalkeepers and spend the money in outfield positions. The last 6-7 minutes we have on the stream here. Let's go and have a look at how our teams are shaping up towards game week 1. And I know, and I tell that it's not a final, but let's go to you, Jacob, first. Tell us about your team, and I see an interesting name at the attack, Salvesen. So tell us briefly about the team.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I change my team almost every day. So this isn't the final version, but I'm quite happy with this team, actually. I've gone for Sandberg, as you say. I go with quite an expensive goalkeeper, and I think I will just have him for the season. Don't see any needs to change him. Risa, I was impressed by him against Sarpsborg. He is quite high up the pitch and has assist potential. And we also saw last year that he can shoot. He is, when he was younger, he was a striker. So I think he has a good shooting foot on him. Jonassen, cheap way into the Stabæk defense. Harald said, same as Risa, the Molde backs were really far up the pitch. So I would ideally go for Haugen, but I didn't have the money, so I've gone for Haraldseid. Zachariasen, as of now, the best Rosenborg option, so I have him. Sandberg impressed me really much, so I think Haugesund will be quite good this year. Furdal played in like a number 10 for Viking, and he is on corners. So and Viking are quite good at set pieces, so I go for him. Kassi is like a differential from Bohinen because I think Kassi had a good season a couple of seasons ago with a lot of points, so maybe this season he can bring that back. James and Belvin is in almost every team. And then I have Salvesen. He was really good last year when he came to Strømsgodset. I think he scored 6 goals in 13 games. And in the preseason, at least before the coronavirus, he was really good. So, yeah.
Good
and then
one.
I have a cheap bench with playing players. So.
Cool. Before I go to Espen, just touch on the Kassi pick. Edvardsen is 6.5. A question from Leon Milestad: is he worth that extra 0.5? If you've had the funds, would you go for him?
Maybe, but they have signed a new player called Gall from Sweden on loan. So I'm not sure that he will play that regular. But maybe it's Vetlesen who goes out of the team and not Edvardsen. But
yeah,
that's hard with Stabæk. Defense, okay, what will be those 4? Midfield, I think Bohinen, Kassi, and Lumansa is most likely to play. But front 3, no idea. It can vary from every game, so that's why it's better to go Bohinen or Kassi, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that's a nice segue to your team, Espen, because you have Bohinen in midfield. So tell us a bit about your picks.
Well, I go for 3 from Stabæk. We touched on it, Solheim and Jonassen. I think Stabæk will keep on with the great defensive. Bohinen, because he might be on some free kicks. I've heard he might even take the penalties. So that's one of the reasons I choose him. Zachariasen is there. I've gone for Ibrahimai instead of Furdal. He showed last season he's the assist king in Viking. I hope he continues with that, and I'm pretty sure he will play a lot. One thing, I have 1 million left in my bank actually, and one thought is Hesta to Adegbenro actually, but 2 from Rosenborg might be too much, but it will be easy to manage from there again. If I start with Adegbenro, okay, I can sell him and get in some new. But other than that, Rossbach in goal, Strand Larsen at top. Still not sure about him, but as we looked at the fixtures, I think Sarpsborg's fixtures are great. It's a lot of Stemaif has made it like it looks not so good, and he's right, of course, but I think those games might be much better than it looks like. And my bench is pretty like Jacob's bench.
Yeah, and pretty much like mine as well. I've went for Berger, of course, and Boyang at 4.5 picks. Siversen is one of the 4.50 who might have a chance, but I would not be bothered if he's not playing. Sandberg in goal with Jonathan, double up on Stabæk. I like what I get from Sandberg, expensive goalkeeper. Gregersen from Molde. Depends on what happens with the defense the next few days. I will decide whether to stick or switch, but definitely I need a more defender. Semb is the cheap route to Odd as well. My forward is easy for me, at least. It was Borvin, James, and Strand Larsen. I still believe that he might come good this season, Strand Larsen, and maybe compete on the Golden Boot. Who knows? Hestad Ibrahimai, he started very well for me last season, so probably he's the way to Viking for now. Saltness is kind of a 7.5 block, I would say. He could be anyone with a 7.5. But I like that he got 16 bonus points last season, much more than Singernagel. So that's something I considered when I picked him. Maigard, I think he had 2 assists in the last 2 games. Jacob told me before we go live, so I like the look of him. He can be Castro, he can be any 8.5, Seker Yasin if he appeals. But at least I have this option there. That's pretty much about the team. So we will shuffle things around. We will have another stream, of course, before we kick off the Eliteserien season. But I'll just say that you can find us more regularly on our Slack channel, where I will put in the description a link where you can join for free. And if you want to compete on Manager of the Month competition that will start in July, then you can of course sign up to the Patreon. You also support us in the Eliteserien fantasy content that we provide. But that's what I want to mention here. Espen and Jacob, thanks so much for being here, and good luck in the next few weeks.
Good luck.